What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a review, a wear test, and generally just a first impression of all of the new Too Faced Born This Way concealers. I do have the whole collection here, and I am going to do arm swatches as well. Too Faced describes the Born This Way concealer. I have literature right here. Hydrating 4-in-1 full coverage buildable multitask concealer, exclusive diamond shaped doe foot applicator, allows for perfect precise application, 12-hour crease-free weightless wear, photo-friendly, non-comedogenic, and you can basically use it as a highlight, a concealer, and a contour. So I'm going to be using it as all three today. There is a lot to get to in this review because we are using it in so many different ways, and I'm going to be swatching it and everything, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet. But please do not forget to give this video a like if you don't mind taking a second, because I would super appreciate it. And also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that, because you are going to want to stick around for more reviews and looks and other things coming down the line. Some other things to note about the Born This Way concealer is it comes in 17 shades. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they just recently worked with Jackie Aina on extending the shade range to be more inclusive, and it does seem like they got a few really nice rich dark shades in here, which you guys will see when we do the swatches. There are not as many shades in the concealer as there are in the foundation. The foundation looks like it has about 35 to 40 shades in it. I haven't counted, but they look really, like the range looks fantastic. So I actually have never tried Born This Way foundation, and everybody raves about it. So I have to try that to like get a feel of how it goes along. With today, I'm just using it with my normal IT Cosmetics CC cream and my normal primers, which are the today I used the Smashbox Radiance Primer and the Milk Blur Stick in the center of my face. So we'll see how it wears with what I'm used to. This also has coconut water in it, and it's supposed to be hydrating, which is really nice because usually full coverage can feel like it's very drying. So hopefully that means that it will sit on the skin nicely and make us feel like little plump babies. So far, I really like the concept. If it performs like they say it will, I think it's gonna be the bomb. So let's jump into the swatches and then see how it works on our face. Okay, so since this is a highlighting, concealing, and contouring product, I am going to do all three of those with this today. First of all, let me just say that these are freaking huge for concealers. So I'm going to pull out 3 or 4 shades. I'm going to pick one. I think nude is the color that's closest to my actual skin tone. I'll probably mix in a little bit of porcelain to highlight. In the pamphlet, it says to pick a shade 3 shades darker than your foundation shade to contour, but that is going to give me a very subtle contour, I think. So I'm going actually 5 shades up, and I'm going to contour with the shade Honey. I'm trying to choose one that's like more of a neutral undertone, and this looks a bit more neutral than the ones around it, which are Warm Sand and Butterscotch, which are both really golden. I'm going to start by just doing the typical triangle thing under my eyes, and I'm going to do it the way I normally do with my concealer, which is put down a shade that is pretty much my skin tone, and then mix in a tiny bit of one that's a bit brighter to highlight a little, because I like to highlight underneath my eyes, but not like extremely heavily. Wow, I could tell you that the coverage is intense. That is very covered. I have not been wearing full coverage concealer lately, so this is a lot for me right now, but that's okay. I kind of like it. I'm gonna make a big sacrifice for the sake of YouTube right now, and I am going to try not setting this to see if it really lives up to the wear claim without a powder enhancing that, if that makes sense, because I know that the powder that I usually use is really good. So if I put that on top of this, then there's a good chance that it's just the powder that's good. But if by the time I do the rest of my face and contour it, I'm getting creasing underneath my eyes already, then I might set that with a little bit of powder, because I do have some creases under my eyes and it feels like it's settling into those already. So I might not be able to get away with no powder, but I'm gonna try if I can. I'm gonna place a little bit of honey underneath my cheekbones and then blend it in. That actually looks like a nice contour shade. It's really blending in nicely and sits very, very pretty on the skin. Like, the finish is very natural and I like that. Ooh, I actually like that a lot. Ooh, 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 who's she fighting with that cheekbone though? Now let's see if this is a color that I can snatch this nose with, because it looks like a really nice natural shade for that, and I think that we can make it happen. Normally, I use like a really cool tone shade to carve out my nose, but since these are concealers, there's not like anything that's like gray cool, so we're not gonna be able to achieve that today. I think I might have taken a little bit too much product, but that's okay. So I think that color was like a teensy weensy weeny bit too warm for like doing my nose. I'm not sure if I experimented with some of the other colors would one work well for it, but it did blend out really nicely and it looks very smooth and even, except where I didn't blend it over here. But yeah, it's sitting really nicely on my skin on my nose, which is kind of rare sometimes because a lot of things tend to settle into the larger pores on the nose and it's not cute. So I do like the way it's sitting. I think I would have chosen a different color, but since we're just testing this today, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of vanilla and I'm going to highlight some other points on my face. Just a tiny bit, because the more I play with this, the more I realize a little goes a very long way. Alright, so far I actually kind of really like the way my skin looks. So underneath my eyes, it is settling into my creases just a little bit. However, it almost is impossible for a foundation or a concealer not to settle into my creases there, because I do have like, they're creases, they're there, they're texture of my skin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna set it with powder since it's sitting really nicely just on the flat part of my skin, and I am gonna finish this and do a smoky eye anyway. So the eyeshadow will be blended into the area where it's creasing, so we don't really need to add a powder and kind of ruin our wear test. So I'm gonna go finish the rest of my makeup. I will check in after I'm finished with that and let you guys know how my other makeup applied over this, and then we're gonna do some check-ins vlog style throughout the day so you guys can see how this wears and does it live up to the 12-hour claim. So after applying it to my face and then putting all of my makeup over, I can tell you for sure that makeup applies really nicely over the top of this. I didn't set it with any powder. I even went as far as to only use a cream highlight, so I wasn't like adding any wear time there. So, so far I really like it. It's definitely more coverage than I'm normally into, but it is sitting naturally enough on my skin that it doesn't bother me. So I'm happy with the way it looks so far. I'm going to try to do a 12-hour wear test. When I finished the concealer portion of my makeup was 11:30, so I'm gonna be trying to get it to stay on till 11:30. If it looks like doo-doo before that, I'm probably gonna cut the wear test short, but I will do several check-ins before that, and I'll also do a check-in immediately after this in natural light to show you guys what it looks like in natural light. And as always, everything is always timestamped below, so if you ever want to just jump to a certain portion of the video, it's right there. Wow, I look so incredibly pale in this light right now. What is happening? It is immediately after filming, so it's still around 12 o'clock. But like I said earlier, it was around 11:30 when I finished applying the concealer, so that is when we were gonna do the wear test from. This is what it looks like in natural light. So far, I have to be honest, I think it looks really good. I think it looks so smooth. Ooh, bitch, it looks so smooth. I'm gonna zoom you guys in really tight though, so you can see like the nitty gritty of what it looks like on the skin. So up close, as you can see, it's sitting really nicely. It is definitely high coverage. It definitely looks like makeup. It is not a no makeup look. However, it's pretty snatched. So I have a couple little things to do today. I'm gonna go visit my niece for a little bit. We might or might not go to a street fair later, so I'll have to bring you guys with me to that and see how it wears through that type of a situation. If we do wind up going, I don't know, we're kind of on the fence about it. But either way, we're gonna try for a full 12 hours on this because, I mean, that's a pretty long time to claim that your makeup's gonna stay nice. So we'll see if they lying. Oh, and I wanted to actually mention on here, because I forgot while I was sitting down in the studio to mention this, but they're huge. The concealers are enormous. And when I picked up the bottle, I was like, oh, maybe this is one of those situations where it looks bigger than it really is, and it's just like normal size, but no, it is 0.5 ounces, which is about half the size of a foundation. And just for comparison, I checked to see how much concealer was in one of my Urban Decay Naked Skin concealers, and it's 0.16 ounces. So it's like 4 times the size of a normal concealer. So that's pretty sweet. I love not having to worry about running out of concealer. And they actually didn't list the price on the PR packaging, so I'm gonna see if I can find it online. I'm not sure if it's going to be listed yet because I don't think they're selling it just yet. But I'm gonna try to list that in the description below if you guys are curious. However, just know for whatever price it is, it's a huge ass bottle of concealer. So I'm gonna go live my life, and I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Okay guys, it is 4:45. Oh my God, I just remembered that I have this dumbass lock screen. It's 4:45. I've been wearing this for, God, do the math for me, 11 o'clock. What was that, 5 hours and 45 minutes? Yes, it is. Wow, that was way too hard.
Wow.
Shut up, you didn't know either. So far it seems to be holding up pretty well, except one issue that I'm having is I'm noticing that it's settling into fine lines a little bit around my eyes, and I would blame that on the fact that I didn't set this, because it's not moving much, it's just moving a tiny bit, and it is super duper warm out today, and I have been out about in the sun and running around and playing with my niece and everything. So I think normally I would probably set this with a powder. I wouldn't expect it to give you like a full day of wear on its own, but other than just a little tiny bit of settling in those fine lines, it looks really good still. The contour is still where I put it. On my nose, actually, it's holding up better than most makeup does on my nose, because usually my nose breaks up first because it's oily first and foremost, and second of all, I usually get really bad glasses marks, and obviously it leaves little dents still, but the makeup actually didn't come off from my glasses. So so far I think it's wearing really well. I'm gonna make an executive decision when I get home in a little bit, because we are probably going out and about further for the evening. I think I might add a little bit of powder just so I don't look a damn fool out in public, but I haven't decided yet. I think that you could probably, if you're a spring chicken, you could probably get away with this with no powder, or if you're like extremely dry, but I'm neither of those things, so I definitely need powder with it. But so far I do like it, and I think the finish of it looks really good still, and for a very, very extremely full coverage concealer, I think it's pretty natural looking still, even after a few hours. So far I like it, but I definitely think it needs powder. Okay, it's 11:23, which brings us into just moments even under the 12-hour mark. By the time we finish this check-in, we will be at exactly 12 hours. When we got home after the second check-in, I decided not to powder the concealer, because when I thought about it, there was no way that I could powder the concealer without like tapping it out so that it wasn't sitting in the lines anymore. Otherwise I would have just been powdering it into the lines that it was setting in. So I didn't powder it at all, no setting spray, nothing. I just left it the way it was. And weirdly enough, it seems like the dewiness and the oils of my natural skin actually made it kind of like reach some sort of a weird equilibrium where it wasn't sitting in my lines anymore, and it actually wound up looking really good. You can see like directly underneath my eye, I probably could have stood to use a little bit of powder, but generally speaking, it's not so bad. The contour, it's, you know, a subtle contour to begin with, but it's still there. The nose contour is still there. Nothing's really creasing. My forehead here is creasing a little bit, but to be fair, I didn't powder my foundation either, and that's kind of what's creasing a little bit. So just some thoughts I had throughout the day as I was wearing this. First of all, I don't think that this is going to become my everyday concealer, because the reason being that I don't generally wear such high coverage. I usually save such high coverage for special occasions, things where I'm going to be photographed a lot. I don't usually even use such high coverage to take Instagram photos and stuff like that. It's just not my favorite finish on my skin. But if you love full coverage concealer, I think you're going to love this. If you're a fan of Shape Tape, I think that there's a chance that you might like this better than Shape Tape. I'm not sure, it's hard to say. Everything comes down to personal preference, but I think it has more coverage than Shape Tape. I'm not kidding, I serious. One portion of it that I found really impressive was actually the way it wore on my nose contour. I have to sort of experiment with the shades that are in there and see which one works for my nose contour the best, because the shade itself was a little too warm for a contour on my nose for my taste, but it is the only nose contour and highlight combination that I've had in a while that withstood glasses marks. Like, the littlest bit of an imprint of glasses on my nose, but for the most part, my shit's still there. And I wore sunglasses all day. I wore my eyeglasses when I was doing stuff on the computer. Like, I really put it through the ringer, and it's still on my nose, and that is unheard of. Like, I've tried everything to get it to stay on my nose, nothing ever does, but this really did stay, so very impressed with that. I'm also impressed with the way it contoured on the cheek area specifically. I felt like it looked like a really warm, very natural contour, and I like the way it blended. And I don't know if anybody else deals with this, but personally, I have a thing on one side of my cheek, it's my right side of my face, where if I blend a powder contour or powder anything really over this area, there's like one spot that just won't take pigment. But with cream products, it doesn't happen. So I won't get that, like, there's like literally a stripe where it doesn't take pigment on my cheek. With cream products, it doesn't happen, but cream products generally don't wear that well. So I would rather just kind of like deal with the not perfectly blended contour as long as the rest of it's gonna stay for the rest of the day. But with this, because it's a cream, it did cover that area and didn't give me that patch that I usually get for whatever godforsaken reason. But it also was really long wearing, and it stayed the whole day, and it's kind of like the solution that I never knew I needed. Certainly reach for it as an under eye concealer on days where I'm looking a little extra rough and need some very serious coverage, because it is very high coverage. And if I can experiment with the colors and find a good nose contour color, I probably will continue to use it for my nose contour, because I am impressed with the way it held up to glasses marks. That is my final assessment. Hopefully you found this helpful. I'm pretty impressed. I definitely don't know if it's gonna be my day-to-day as far as my under eyes, but it's good. It's pretty good. And that is all for today's review. Please let me know if you are going to try this concealer, if you're excited about it, what you think. Would you use it as a contour? Are you impressed with how it wore? Are you in love with how it sits on the skin? Let me know in a comment down below. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you don't mind taking a second, because it really helps me out and I would super appreciate it. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because hello, let's be friends, please. If you feel like you miss me between videos, you can go ahead and follow me on other social media. I'm at Miss QuinnFace on pretty much every platform, but the one you're gonna find me on the most is Instagram. I will list it on the screen. It'll also be listed in the description. You have no excuse not to come find me. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you in the next one.